Is it just me, or does it feel like 2020 is just a big old boot full of gasoline and scorpions and somebody poured it out and there's a little fella striking a match trying to set the whole thing on fire? Stick around. This is the Bearded Guy Podcast. Hey, welcome to the Bearded Guy Podcast. I hope you're doing well today, and I hope you're safe wherever you are. Now, with everything going on, I've decided to move all of my content to my second channel, the Bearded Guy Podcast. And the reason I've done that is because I want to grow that brand for my podcast-specific episodes. Now, that's going to be in video format and audio format. And I've had the channel for a while, and I've talked about it before in a previous video. But going forward, I'd say within the next 2 to 3 weeks, all of my content is going to start gradually going there. I will be posting content here on this channel still, but not as much. I'll be doing live streams and things that are outside of a podcast format here on this channel, but then all of the other things will be moved to that channel. So if you're a subscriber of mine here, please take a moment, go to the link in the description below, click on that link. That'll take you to my second YouTube channel, and please subscribe and hit the notifications bell. That way when I do post content related to the podcast, you'll be able to get that notification and go check that out. And I hope you do follow me to the new channel. I know that's begging, please follow me to the new channel. But the thing about it is I really want to grow my brand, the Bearded Guy Podcast. I really want to put some focus on not only that, but also learning the trade of doing voiceover work. I've been kicking that around for a while, and I've really been beating myself up about that part of it. And we're going to talk about that here in just a second. But again, all of my content going forward is going to start migrating to my new channel. I hope you follow me there. I hope you check that out. Please subscribe to that channel. I've got a few little tidbits and things over there right now. Nothing major, but still I do have some content there just to it's like a place marker, if you will. It'll hold the channel until I'm ready to do something with it. That being said, going back to my comment about, feeling like I was held back on doing the voiceover stuff. That's an interesting topic to discuss, especially for creators. That's one of those things that, you get into the mindset and you start out with such great intentions. You're gonna go and just change the world. You're gonna be like a bulldozer running through a field of marshmallows, and you're just gonna tackle everything. And then, it gets to a point where you don't get the feedback, or you don't get the views or the listens or whatever that is. And you start getting in your mind that maybe I'm not good enough. Maybe people just don't like what I have to say or want to hear what I have to say. That's not always the case. There's a lot of times we just have to persevere and hang on until we find that place where we fit. Now, one of the things that's happened to me over the past week, and especially with the podcast, I got a notification from Buzzsprout that I hit 500 downloads of my podcast. And I'm like, holy cow, I didn't know that people were listening that much. Now I look at stats and I look at, this episode got this download and this episode got that download. But I didn't really calculate everything together. And then when I got that notification, it kind of breathed new life into me wanting to continue with my podcast episodes there on Buzzsprout. And I've got some that did really well over there, like the Art Bell Experience, the Ghost Hunting the Paranormal with Chuck and Cindy Pierce. That was a really great episode. Fascinating to listen to their story about the other side of the camera when it comes to paranormal investigation and ghost hunting. Go check that out. It's on Buzzsprout.com, the Bearded Guy Podcast. Imagine that. The same name on Buzzsprout. But go check that episode out. It's a really good episode. They're a fascinating couple, and they've got some really good stories, and the interaction there was really good. But then the other one was the Art Bell Experience. I think that one's like at 135 downloads or something to that effect. And then I got to looking at stats. And I'm looking at all of the different places that people are listening to my episodes, and it's all around the world. And I was just fascinated and blown away by that. So if you're a content creator and you get to that point where you feel like you've just hit that wall and you're pushing and pushing and pushing, but it feels like no matter how hard you push, you're not getting anywhere. You're not gaining traction. You're not doing anything. It can be a frustrating feeling. But if you're a content creator, don't give up. Keep making content, no matter, how great or how small that content is, no matter what the length of the content. And if it's a 5-minute video, guess what? It's a 5-minute video. So what? If it's a 10-minute podcast, guess what? It's a 10-minute podcast. Put your heart and soul into it and be true to yourself. Don't be what other people want you to be. And here's another one that you don't want to fall into. Don't try to be like everybody else. That will kick you in the butt every single time if you're constantly comparing to and wanting to be like somebody else, whether that's in podcast, Instagram, YouTube, whatever that is. Be yourself. Be honest. Be true to yourself. Be who you are, just out there. There's been times when I've made videos and different things that I wasn't true to myself, and I can tell whenever I listen to or watch or whatever that is that I've created. I can tell. I can hear it, but I leave it up there anyway because I feel like, well, if I do what this guy did, if I do what that guy did, if I just say this or I just do that, or maybe if I just buy this piece of gear that this guy's shooting this video with and this lens and blah, 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 it's going to make people, instantly gravitate to me. It's not. That's the truth of it. It's not. You're not going to gain subscribers or a following for whatever it is you're doing if you're constantly copying other people. You know why? Here's why. Because it's not you. It's not you building an audience based on who you are and the content you create. It's you building an audience based on what somebody else did, and you're trying to replicate that. You can't go on like that. You cannot go into the future and proceed if you're constantly trying to be someone else. It's tiring. It's very, very, very tiring to be someone else. Be who you are, warts and all. And there's actually a good little thing about warts and all. We might get into that on a podcast. It actually came from someone who, whenever they did portraits back in the what is it? See, I'm drawing a blank right now. But back in the time when people were painting portraits of people instead, there were no cameras. You couldn't do that, so you had to take a portrait. And he says, "No, I want it painted warts and all." That's where that comes from. We might dig into that a little bit further on a podcast episode because it's very interesting. But again, be yourself. Be the creative person that you are. Whether you fall on your face, you're going to fall on your face 100 times. Here's an example. And I'll put some of those in here at the end. I go back and listen to some of my old podcasts, and I go back and look at some of my old live streams that I did here on YouTube. They're quite humorous, to be honest with you. One of the ones that I go back to, and I actually put it on a video here where I was reacting to my very first video. It's almost embarrassing to talk about it, but hey, we're going to talk about it. And I literally was that shy on camera because I didn't know who I was. Now I know who I am, and I'm happy with who I am. And that's what you got to do. So don't get frustrated. Don't get caught off in the weeds. Don't run headlong into trying to be somebody else. Be who you are. Create what you create. Enjoy it and be proud of it. The person who has been the biggest supporter of mine is my wife. And there's days whenever I either get a block and I can't think of what I'm going to create next, or I don't know how something sounds, or I think, yeah, it's subpar. My wife always brings me back to the ground, and she says, you know what? Do you enjoy doing it? Yes. Do you like making the videos that you make? Yes. Do you like doing your podcast? Yes. Well, then just do it and be happy doing it. Be happy with what you create. Be who you are. Don't be somebody else. It always grounds me. It always brings me back to that level when everything's just kind of out of control. Remember that boot full of gasoline and scorpions? Little guy striking the match. Could be like that for you right now. So again, I hope this little video has been interesting to you. I hope you like what you see here. I hope you like some of the live streams I've done and some of the content that I've posted here. It's mostly live streams because I've actually done a complete change of what I wanted to do with my channel. And it's been a great change for me. And all my old content's been taken down. And I'm posting who I am and what I am. and I hope you do the same. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What's your greatest struggle when doing video content or when you're doing whatever it is creative you do? What is your biggest struggle? What's your stumbling block? What holds you back? What keeps you from being the person that you want to be in front of this camera or in front of the microphone or behind an instrument or whatever that is? I'd love to hear from you on that. And you can also catch me at beardedguypodcast@gmail.com. That's beardedguypodcast@gmail.com. I'd love to hear from you there. You got a story you want to share on the podcast? Or if you want to be on a podcast episode, even better, please hit me up at beardedguypodcast@gmail.com. Tell me your story. I'd love to hear it. And I'd love to hear from you in the comments below. Again, look for the link to my second channel in the description. And please check it out. If you don't want to subscribe, that's fine, but at least go check it out. I would love for you to be my subscriber and kind of follow me there. Follow me over there. But if you don't, no harm, no foul. At least check it out. Let me know what you think. And I hope to hear from you. So again, you can hit me in the comments. You can catch me at the email address that I posted or that's here. Just let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And as always, I hope you have a great day, a better day tomorrow, and a wonderful week ahead of you. Keep creating. Keep your head up. Keep doing what you do. Keep being who you are. Be honest with yourself and continue to push on. This is the Bearded Guy Podcast, and until next time.